Welcome to Lighthouse Worship. In today's video, we're going to be going over how to play fingerstyle, finger picking, right? Different things that I do during worship. Also going to go into other things, kind of like, alright you guys, so to get into this video, you won't be needing your pick, but I will show y'all a trick you can use with your pick once you learn fingerstyle. First of all, I'll go ahead and explain fingerstyle a little bit. Fingerstyle is great to use when the music is low. It helps to build dynamics in music in your worship when you're playing a song. Typically the song starts very calm, very collected, and it can build to hard strumming, right? So it's kind of like that delicate, calm verses. Those first couple verses is where you would use it, even to end the song. You know, whenever you're in a spontaneous worship moment, you can also use that. We're gonna be doing this in the key of G. I will go over different keys that might help you see how you will go about it. You're using 3 fingers, like I said. Your thumb you're using to keep the bass notes. So any chord you play, so for example your G chord, you have your bass note, right? And then on your C chord, you have your bass note C, right? And then E minor, which you have your bass note on E minor. You could also do the open E on E minor, but usually I go with the actual note, right? So I use this pattern for the fingerstyle. So it starts with your bass note, which is your E, and then you're gonna play your 3rd string from the bottom, right? And then you're gonna go back to your bass note. After you do that, you're gonna play the 2nd to the last string, which is your B string. I'm using this G shape, as you can see. You could also use an open G like this. So this pattern can be used on any chord pretty much, but you do have to adjust for the switches on the bass. Okay, so you want to keep your bass moving depending on your chord. So for example, when you switch to your C chord, you're not gonna play your E anymore. You're gonna be playing your A, right? Your A string. So after you do that first initial pattern, after you do that, you're gonna continue the pattern by going so you're playing your 3rd from the bottom, your bass note, 2nd to the bottom. Make sure you're leaving a small space. So if you can go ahead and listen. Space, space, space. Once you get good at learning keeping the tempo, right? So usually that 2nd to last string rings a little longer compared to the other ones. So as you can see, when I switch chords, you do the whole pattern all over again, starting with your bass note. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you could count. The first one is 4, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. Counting does help keep tempo. It helps you learn when to switch. For your E chord, so as you can see, E chords are pretty much the same thing. I'm using the same string, your G and B strings, right? G and B strings, you keep using those regardless which switches you do. If you're doing a D chord, I usually with the D chord, as you can see, I use the second string open. If you're doing a 3, which is your B minor 7, could be doing that, right? So typically I use with my thumb, I only use the top E and A, right? Even if I'm doing like an A minor, okay. Let's say I'm in the key of C. That's your C chord. That's your F. So most of them, like I said, it's either going to be your top 2 strings with your bass notes with your thumb, and the 2 index ring finger is using the same B and G strings, right? So right there, as you can see, I'm switching it up a little bit. So you can also switch it on the D chord. So on the D chord, you have more options. So, like I said from the beginning, you can play it with your open. Now, if you're gonna go down to your high E string, right? You could technically, and the only reason you do this is because you're moving lower in the strings, right? So instead of using these 2 bass notes, you're moving to your 3rd bass note, right? And as you can see, I'm alternating between using that B and the high E, right? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. Okay, you could do that with your D chord. If you want to have a little brighter sound, you can move your fingerstyle picking lower down in the strings. Typically, you want to have at least 4 strings that you're using, because it's gonna sound weird if you have like 1 up here. As you can see, so with your D chord, you can do your D sus and all those other D shapes, right? But you get the same picture, right? So that's what you can do with your D chord. Typically you don't do that with your other chords, right? With your, you could, I guess you could do it with your F. So it's up to you. You could play your F like this, but I typically like to play my F like this. But yeah, so let's go on. Let's try key of E, right? Your E shape. So because your E shape's higher up here on the higher up strings, right? You're gonna be using the top, like those strings that you're using you're gonna be finger picking, right? So, like I said, the alternating finger style, right? So, like the first one I showed you, right? Right, that's the first one I showed you. Then I showed you the alternating. So that is the alternating, right? So it's a little bit more advanced, slightly. All you're changing is you're adding that extra string at the bottom, right? You can also do that with the E chord, right? You see how that works? Okay, that's the alternating. And that's the regular with your A chord. You could also do your A chord down here. Right? I think it sounds better with the lower notes with the A. And honestly, when it comes to fingerstyle, the main thing is practice. Your hand will naturally get used to that feeling, this like claw type of grip on your fingers, on your strings. And naturally your hands are gonna get used to this back and forth motion. So right, so with your 6 over here with your C sharp minor, right, I'm using the top 3 strings because that's where my fingers are placed. You could go lower, but it might sound weird, right? You could also play your C sharp minors with the lower strings open if you want to get a more clean sound, rather than doing the whole C sharp minor, right? So typically with these bar chords, I try to stay towards the bass notes. Like I said, you get better with practice. You just have to make sure you're using these 3 fingers, make sure you're nicely firm and have a good grip on your strings, right? If you don't have a good grip, you're not going to be able to hit the right strings accurately. What I recommend is using your pinky to have your pinky to stabilize your hand, right? Having your pinky to stabilize your hand helps you get a good, stronger grip on your strings. Right? So, once you have mastered that hand, you grab your pick and you can actually do the same pattern using a pick. Obviously, this is going to be more advanced once you get familiar with the way it feels, that pattern. So as you can see, same idea, same principle. You're just using your pick and you're kind of sweeping back and forth the strings. Also, as you can do just a single down strum, but you're actually picking. Right? Now that isn't technically fingerstyle, but it is a technique that I do use. I recommend. If you want to get a more clean down strum, you can do string for string strumming, right? It's good for when it's calm, when you don't want to have too much sound, but you do want to fill in that space, right? Okay, so we're going to strumming patterns. Strumming patterns, I go over them usually on my videos, so I'm not going to go over too much. What I do recommend with strumming patterns is to count and to listen to the song, whatever song you're doing, and listen to the tempo, right? Right, and then you can kind of hear usually, like for example, maybe try like I Thank God. So something that helps me to hear because when you're trying to do strumming pattern, especially for praise songs, it's hard to hear like it's kind of hard. It could be hard to hear your actual strumming, you know. So what you could do, just keep it muted and practice that. Also loosening your hand. Loosening your wrist. And as well, what I like to do as well is muting, right? There's also songs that have swings. Swings are basically like, so think of that's a swing right there. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next